Welcome to the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent.
Steve, welcome back to the Friday at 4 podcast series. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How's your week so far?
I don't even want to talk about it. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's been a crazy week
All right, we
with
got to
the
do something about that. Okay.
with the concerts on Monday and Tuesday, and it's been a wild week. But we're getting through it. So I'm still
Well,
standing on Friday, and I got 2 more days to go, so it's all right.
well, that's a good thing
So
you're still standing. Okay.
yeah, exactly. All right, let's get started. We have a guest today, and Lisa Conway has joined us. And let's go ahead and get started with our topic, and then we'll get Lisa chimed in and get her going with us. What's our topic today?
All right. So there's a book out there. Well, let me back up a second. Every week, on Tuesday mornings, I'm part of this men's group, and it's a lot of because it's only the guys, we really talk about a lot of things that we don't talk about on the outside. A lot of it's personal. People open up, and it's a really, really cool group. And everybody understands it's what's said in there stays in there. And it's a
That's very
pretty cool
cool.
group.
Yeah.
And we started going over 2 weeks ago. There's a book called The Four Agreements. I don't remember who wrote it, but it's a really, really good, very popular book. And
Miguel something, right? Yeah.
I don't remember. And there's obviously four agreements in the book. And this past Tuesday, excuse me, we talked about the second agreement. And the
Mhm.
second agreement was don't take things personally.
Yeah.
And we went through a whole bunch of stuff. So one of the first things that I wrote some notes down, the first point that was made that we talked about for a while was when people make statements, it's a reflection of them.
Mhm.
And when they make those statements, you don't know what's behind it. So if they get excited, they start saying silly things, they call you things, they do whatever, we really have to take a step back and say, why are they doing that?
Mhm.
So one of the things in particular that was mentioned was you driving down the road and somebody cuts you off badly. So the first thing you're going to think and scream out is, what the heck? They don't know how to, I'm cleaning this up. What the heck? They don't know how to drive. They're all over the road. They don't care, blah, blah, blah. But then if you sit back a second and say, maybe they're in a rush to get to somebody who's sick. Maybe they're late for a health related issue. Maybe there's something behind it that's causing them to do what they did. So before you really start screaming and doing things you're not proud of, try to figure out what the other person is, the situation that they're in, and try to understand it. And sometimes you'll calm down a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I learned that from Dr. Joe Vitale some years ago when I was stressed out through my divorce and my kids and all. And same thing, right? Road rage. And Dr. Joe Vitale, said the same thing, you don't know what's happening on the other person's side, emergency, you're judging them just because they cut you off. And
Hmm.
it's kind of interesting, right? How
Yeah, it
how
is.
not to take things personally, right?
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Lisa,
Let's go ahead and throw it over to Lisa. Lisa, come on in and tell our audience who you are, where you're from, what you're going to. You're from Australia, right? Come on in and give us your opinion on what you think about
Yeah.
this topic today.
Yeah. Good morning, boys. I live in Bali,
huh?
Indonesia, but I am Australian. So I grew up in Australia and I've worked the best part of my life in the hair and beauty space. So I started out as a hairstylist, salon owner. So that's where I started. So yes, I
Nice.
think that's absolutely one of the greatest books you'll ever read, The Four Agreements. Um, and it was just so simple for me to see that book and go, wow. So the first one is don't assume things. Do your best work always. Don't take things personally and be impeccable with your words.
Hmm.
And I think everything in life pretty much fits into that, right? And so when we,
1000%.
1,000%. you know. And I think the one that stands out for me is impeccable with your words, because we're just too emotional at times. Like if someone cuts you off in traffic, so shouting, what would it do anyway? Like, why does it even, what did you get out of shouting at someone? And it's true,
Right.
just turn and think about it. I remember when our mum passed away and we left her in the hospital, and it was so sad. We walked away, it was three sisters and I, and we got a coffee, and then we said to someone in the coffee shop, can we sit here? And there was a lady on a big table and she was sitting by herself, and we said, could we sit here, because it was full? And she said no. And Marianne, my sister, was going to have a go at her, and I said, Marianne, she goes, we just left our mother, our dead mother, in the hospital. And I said, you don't know what's going on with her, so get outside. We can sit out here in the cold, it'll be fine. But she was really emotional. And so I think it's true. It's more about what's going on with you than what's going on with them. Why are you so tightly wound? Why are you so, you know, because the same incident can happen the next day and you go, oh, he's a bit of a goose. He can't drive. Whereas,
Right.
you know, it's not personal. It's not personal. I know for myself, I just think that's how I know if I'm traveling well. Because if I'm quick to jump on somebody or something, then it's actually about me. It's not really about them.
Yeah. You know, Steve, that's a great point you brought up. You know, talk about the driving, because I'm on the road a lot, all day, every day. I do a lot of traveling. And that is one of my things. I had to learn to really control that, because it is personal. You know, if you're in a bad mood and somebody cuts you off, you're going to go off. But if you're in a good mood, they cut you off, like, ah, it happens. You know,
Yeah.
been there, done that many times a day.
Oh yeah, yeah. For because of certain things that happened financially in my life when my first business closed, the only thing I could find, because I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I drove a limo and a limo party bus for a limo company for quite a few years.
You
And
got stories.
I, but when
Right.
you're driving a very large vehicle,
Yeah.
and when you put all the people into the vehicle, it is very difficult to stop it quickly if you have to.
Right.
So when you're going down the road and you see another car or something going on that you don't like, you need to be looking way in the distance. So to
Yeah.
Lisa's point, is it me that I'm not in a good mood, but I can't risk the lives of the people that are sitting in the vehicle behind me? Or do I relax and take a breath and say, okay, if it's me, slow it down. If it's somebody else, stay away far enough that I could get maneuver if I had to. So
Yeah.
the point is there.
Mhm.
Is it you? Is it the other person? But stop, breathe, think, and then act. So great point, Lisa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, you said something really cool that really struck out just now with this. And I'd love to get your guys' opinion on this. When you said you can't stop that vehicle, so you have to look ahead, right? So like a tractor trailer, right? They got to look 40, 50, hundreds of feet ahead, because they can't stop on a dime. We can tie that to what we're doing, right? Our businesses, how we help people, the topic today. I think guys shed some light on looking forward, right? Because I think that has a lot to do with the topic, right? If you look forward, I think it can help what we're looking at today, right? With things to make
right.
it kind of easier.
Yeah. So Lisa, give
Mhm.
give us your quick thoughts on that, and then I'll give you my thoughts about in a business looking forward and whatever else.
I think we spend in business, I think we spend way too much time worrying about if it doesn't work out. What if you're wrong? What if it does work out? You know,
Right.
and I think in my 62 years on the planet, I realized that some of the greatest gifts I've ever had are the things that went wrong, that went upside down. You know, I just think people expect things to be good all the time. They're just not going to be. And some of the greatest lessons, and I say in business, in a salon, if somebody comes in and they have their hair done and they're not happy, and you know that your team member didn't do a good job, just refund the money. And if it's $80 or $100, it's the best, cheapest lesson that you ever had, because it's really a point in that person's career where they can unpack where they went wrong. And so what if everything works out? What if there is a higher power that's looking out for you that's meant to be? You know, what if it's just okay? What if it's going to be good? So when you look forward, you can play the the tape forward and realize that it's going to be all right. I don't know the answer now. This feels like it's all upside down. But if you just wait, you'll know. It's all for good.
So, and I completely agree with that. A different way to look at that from my perspective is, and I'm sure you've all heard this before, you can work in your business or on your business.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're working in your business, you're worried about today. Are you really looking forward at the possibilities? And the answer is no. So how do you grow? How do your business grow? How do you add more value to your clients or new clients? And you're right. Most people are conditioned to look at the negative side of what could go wrong.
Yeah.
Look at the positive side. You're right. What if it does work?
Yeah.
You know,
You
it's
know,
the glass half full, half empty type scenario.
yeah, right. Yeah. I want to read something I put together. I think we talked about this, Steve, and Lisa, I would love uh, your comments on this as well. And you just mentioned that. I'm going to take this real quick second because it kind of ties to what you're talking about, right? This is something that I'm writing. I'm trying to start to get my clients to hear what I say. So I'll leave the name out for the show. But here's what the numbers say. As of August 5th, 2026, when the Star Performance Index assessment was conducted, your Google rating was a 4.5. Your top 10 local ice cream benchmark was a 4.5. So you're tied with your benchmark. You have 232 reviews. Here's the interesting part. You're just 58 five-star reviews away from a 4.6, right? So how do you get there? That's what my Star Performance Index is designed to uncover, right? But as of August 12th, since this assessment was conducted, you had 3 new reviews, 2 were 5-star, right? And 1 was 4-star. Now that puts you at 1 5-star review further away from reaching that 4.6 rating. That's exactly why tracking the numbers matters. That forward thinking, right? That's why I want to read that, because that forward thinking, right? What do you think?
Well, I think if you just go smaller, right? I always think if someone's got a problem or something's going down in their world or they feel it's too big, if you just go smaller. So to me, when you were reading that ad, I thought 58 people, I can find 58 people and I'm going to do a 5-star effort. So I'm not worried about the statistics of there and there. What can I do today? Because really all you have is today. So how can you show up for people today? And I think if it's the same as when someone cuts you off in traffic and you get snitchy about it, it's because you're not traveling well. But if you're traveling well, you have the ability to go small and go, right, what can I do today? What can I shift the needle on today? So when you take it and make it about you, because all you can do is what you do. And I can't decide, I can't make you like me. I can't make the audience think this was a great podcast. And if someone doesn't think it's a great podcast, then I'm not taking it personally. That's it, right? I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And the more you try and be in vanilla and in the middle, the less you'll be anything to anyone. So it's okay. It's okay. And I think, unfollow me if you don't want to. But if you do think that this is helpful or I like the way she thinks, then you share it with someone. So when something doesn't land, the ball stops, right? But when something does land, you hit the tennis ball back and the game continues. But it's like anything in divorce or anything, just don't respond. Shut up and listen, right?
Well,
And just let the ball roll and hit the fence. Game over. Put your
game over,
weapons
right?
down.
Yeah.
Stop
What do you
fighting
think,
with
Steve?
yourself.
And that's a great point. There are times where you just have to keep your mouth closed, take it all in, and come back, learn from it, and come back stronger. Not everything is worth a response, because if somebody is negative to you in whatever shape or form, and you respond negatively, number one, you're coming down to their level, which you don't want to do. And number two is now you've set your mindset. Now you walk away from that conversation in a negative mindset. So the next set of things you do has that same what's going to go wrong as opposed to what's going to go right.
Yeah. Real quick, Steve, tie into your business how this topic today, how you kind of can shift a little bit on not taking it personal, because definitely in your line of work, that can get, and you can take a lot of that personal, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I walk in, I'm in the financial services space for everybody, and Lisa's, point of reference. But when I go out and I speak to an individual, a family, a business owner, I'm sitting down first getting to know them and what their needs are, what they think their needs are, and we find out about them. Then I go in and start asking some detailed questions. And there's a lot of people who, in that initial conversation, say, yes, I need, I need, I need. But then when you start asking the questions, like, well, maybe not. And I said, okay, so why not? And they have no answer. They have no legitimate answer. So I could sit there and say, okay, we're done. You don't want to talk to me. I'm done. I'm out the door. And it's a 10-minute conversation. But am I really doing the right thing by just giving in to what I'm taking as a short-term negative? So the goal at that point is overcome the objection. Why are they first so open and then not? And that's where that whole conversation is more about them than about me.
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
need to
Good
know
point.
that I'm listening and I understand and I care about them. This is not a
Mhm.
sales pitch. This is how to help them. And
Right.
and again, to Lisa's point and your point, you can't go back to them down to their level. You can't just be walking away negative. There's always got to be some positive to every situation. You just have to find it.
Right. Yeah. Lisa, tell us a little bit about your business and how this topic kind of leans into what you're working on.
Yeah. So I think for me, and I was listening to your ratio, and I think this is a ratio problem. So I think we were given 2 ears and one mouth for a reason,
Hmm.
right? And so as a
Love it.
hairstylist, you've got someone in your chair, you may not have ever seen them before, and you're going to change something about their appearance, which is pretty important. So you've got to learn to listen. So inside the word listen is a list. So you need to get a list first, right? And only when you've got the list. So you have to listen to get the list of what they want. I don't want it short. I don't want it long. I want it whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like you all have everything you need inside you anyway. I spent the first 40 years of my career showing people how to get what they want when it comes to their physical appearance. But what's really important is they were beautiful anyway. So sometimes we're spending all of our time trying to look like something on the outside, but on the inside's how you feel. So really loving yourself unconditionally is the core of everything. And I didn't do that. And a lot of women didn't do that. And it's not until you get a bit older that you realize. And you need to realize before you get older because things happen. Your hair goes grey, your boobs sag, you're not the hot bod that you used to be. But I'm here to
Right.
tell you,
Definitely.
yeah, things go south,
Yeah.
whatever.
That things,
You know
it sure
what? But
does.
you make that up in wisdom. And I feel
Yeah.
I used to color my hair and I was always very serious about the outside and now I'm not. But I reckon I've
Right.
been happier and more joyful and I look in photographs. And so what I'm saying is everything you have is inside you. It's really important. But if you don't listen to what people want, you can get it wrong. So in a salon, I think what I do is I work with a salon owner. So I work with a woman who's already successful in her business. So
Mhm.
it's not someone struggling. I don't work with those women. I work with the women who've already got a great business, but what they found is they're in the middle of everything. I call them octopus arms, right? So they're saying, yes, have a seat, no worries. And they're making a coffee and they're sorting out something. And so when they're not there, the business doesn't work well. And that's how we start out. It's like raising a family. You have to do everything for this child. But at some point, the child gets bigger, and I do by self, mummy, was the first sentence my daughter said to me. Whereas I had twin boys next, and their first sentence was, you do. I think, hey, God, boys and girls, they're different,
Yep.
right? You do. Whereas
Right.
she was fiercely independent, right? She grew up to be an emergency room doctor. So she's still fiercely independent,
Yep.
right? Whereas the boys were very different. And so the point is everyone's different, but you still
Mhm.
need to listen. So what I'd like to know is, what do you want? What does good look like? And I think when you ask
Mhm.
people, what do you want? They don't even know. They just know what they don't want,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so there lies the problem is if you don't know where you're going, pretty hard to get there. right?
Mhm.
And so when someone's disgruntled or whatever, and so they might say, I'm not happy with my color or whatever, and I say, what would you like the outcome to be? And they go, oh, like it stumps them. And they say, well, I'd like my money back. Okay. And they're used to a fight. They're used to, most people don't listen and they don't ask, what would you like? Right? Let's be honest, of all the money that comes in and out your door, why would you want someone to leave, especially if it was your fault?
Yeah.
Disgruntled. So they're going to tell 13 people. But if you really handle it well and you apologize and say, we don't always get it right. I wish we did, but we don't. I'm really sorry we let you down.
Yeah.
Mic drop. Boom.
Yeah.
Be
Very
kind.
powerful. Yeah, very powerful.
It is. I love that statement about how do you phrase it? What's good to you? Or how did you phrase that statement?
What does good look like to you?
What does good look like to
Yeah.
you? I'm writing that
Yeah.
down. I'm writing that
Yeah.
down.
What's
Hang on a
good look
second.
like to you?
Yeah,
You know,
that's
when I'm
powerful.
I am writing that down.
yeah, what does it look like? Because when you think about it, people don't know what they want. Mostly they don't. And I stopped drinking years ago, and that what they say in the rooms of AA is, if you want what we've got, right? And I thought, no, I don't want what you've got. I just don't want what I've got. I knew what I didn't want. My problem in life is I didn't know what I wanted. All I knew is what I didn't want. I didn't want to have to rely on something to drink to put me to sleep at night. I wanted to be able to calm my mind at the end of every day without a glass of red wine, right? And so it wasn't that I wanted what they had. No, I know I'm a very unique individual and I've got a super set of skills that's really powerful because it helps a woman to realize that she's got everything already. You got it all there. You know, God doesn't make any mistakes. He doesn't. But you're supposed to struggle. And I'll tell you this, I thought this was really interesting. The other day I saw a post and the bloke was having a haircut. And the barber said to him, if there was a God, then we wouldn't be suffering like this. And the bloke went, like, wouldn't be suffering in the world. What if there really was a God? There wouldn't be this suffering everywhere. And the bloke thought, that's an interesting thing. And he left and he went outside and he saw a bloke with long hair and a beard and looked really scruffy. And he poked his head back in the barber's shop and he said, if barbers were real, that bloke wouldn't be out there with that horrible haircut, would he? The truth is, everything's available to everyone. So if you don't think somebody made you or there's a higher power or whatever you believe, spirituality, then it's just because you're not looking. And the same as the bloke who never had the haircut. Barbers are available to everybody. We choose to choose the barber.
Yeah.
The same as a happy way to be is available to everybody. It's up to you to choose.
You know, it's wild that you mentioned that because there are times I'm in such a vile mood when I'm chugging along through my day and I've got these thoughts in my mind, and there will be signs that say, dude, slow down, take a step back. We got you, you know? And I'm going through one of those today. You know, this weekend's going to be tough for me, but I know I keep saying it's going to be okay. It's going to work out. It's going to work out. My daughter's having some problems with her car, and they've been relying on me to get back up to work and try to help them out, which is, it's kind of hitting my day, but I know it's all going to work out because that's just how life goes. It's going to work out. We're going to make it work out, you know?
There are bumps in the road. Nothing is simple. Nothing is easy.
Yeah.
But you have to keep your eyes open for those signs. And I'm sure you've heard that story, and I've heard this multiple times in various forms, that there's a flood, a really bad flood, and it's all the way up to like the roof of a house. And the guy inside climbs up and he's sitting on top of the roof, and a rowboat comes by and he says, no, I'm okay. And a second rowboat comes by and he says, no, I'm okay. And it goes away. And no more rowboats. And all of a sudden he screams, but God, help me, I need. And the answer back is, I already sent you two. What do you want? So look at the sign of what's
Right.
out there. And I obviously I paraphrased that story, but look at what's around you. There are signs all over the place.
Yeah.
And if your mind is open enough to figure out why something happened. And I'll give you the story, and I'm only saying this for the purposes of this show. I lost my wife in 2011 to cancer. And I, for years and years and years, I kept saying, why? And I'll never get an answer, but why? Why do bad things happen to good people? And I realized early this year, and maybe it's me rationalizing or finally seeing it based on an increased wisdom. I finally realized that all this, and I'm going to use the term, all the crap that I went through between 2011 and this year led me to where I am today.
Mm.
Meeting the people I now work with, the people I now associate with. I'm better and happier than I've been in years, but maybe because I looked at the sign and I sat back and really realized. Now, yeah, it took me 15 years to do that, but keeping my eyes and ears open, it changed my viewpoint. So to Lisa, to your point, there's an answer out there. There's something there for you. Just open up your eyes and look for it, and it's there.
And may I say that I think you have a certain level of compassion for someone who, like you, who really struggled, who lost a partner,
Yeah,
whereas before that you didn't know. And so I think when we make it
correct.
about ourselves, that's a selfish way to think. How could
Mm-hmm.
I make this about someone else? And the other thing I say to people is, how many years were you married, Steve?
29.
Yeah. What a gift. How
Oh,
lucky are you?
100%. Oh, yeah.
It's a
I'm
long
thankful
time.
for
Yeah.
every day of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
but
long
at the
time.
time, yeah, and I remember this American friend I met is from Venezuela, and he lost his daughter when she was 23. She
Oof.
had an aneurysm. She had a headache and she went to lie down, and he went to check on her and she died in his arms.
Oof.
It was, and I couldn't believe his response to that. He said, you know what? When a baby's born, they give it to the mother, and so they should, he said. But
Mm-hmm.
he said to be able to have her for 23 years, he said, what about the people who lose their baby? It's a stillborn. He said, we had her for
Right.
23 years. And he said,
Yeah.
and I got the last cuddle as her dad.
Mm. Yeah.
And you think, how can you think like that? Like I just
Yeah.
couldn't. I was about 20 at the time. So I was very inexperienced with life. And I just thought, what a powerful lesson. He said, how lucky am I? I had her for 23 years and I got the last cuddle.
Wow. That's an amazing approach. It really
That
is.
is, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah.
And I think, what a great. I think all this tied great into the topic today for this, and I'm glad Lisa came on because you really shared some good insights with us and our audience. I hope the people that watch this really can gain something from it. Steve and I every week we always talk about how we're not scripted. Nobody's funding us. This is just Steve and I having a conversation, and I love that we can just be open and talk about what we experience. And Steve, my condolences go to you for dealing with that. I lost my dad in '92. He was 49 to a massive
Wow.
heart attack in a car accident. He was here one minute, gone the next, and I still to this day question why. But I know I got to get a handle on that, and just I gotta figure out my why, and I'm still finding my route with this all. And that's okay. I'll get there, right? And
Yeah,
some
you
things that
will.
Lisa said today really help, and what you said today really helped. And I think just taking a step back and not taking it so personal all the time with everything that we're going through, give ourselves some breathing room, some space to say that it's going to be okay, man. It's this
It
thing called
is.
life where you have your ups and downs, and I love it.
Well,
So,
Yeah.
something that you might find helpful, which I always say, that somewhere in this mess is a message. So I'm really big on words. I think,
Mm-hmm.
like I struggled at school because I have ADHD, but it didn't make me less intelligent. I just have a different way of learning,
Yeah.
right? And I think quite often the creative hairdresser or beauty therapist has a different way. And I feel like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times we're uncomfortable in front of an accountant or a lawyer because we think they're more educated. No, some people read books. I can read people. And so I think always look for the message, right? And generally it's hidden in the word mess. So somewhere in this mess is a message. And I remember that you just got to have a bit of laugh about things. Don't take yourself too personally too. But I think there's a Christmas morning, this kid wakes up and he looks outside and he wants a pony for Christmas, like every kid
Mm.
does when they're 8. I want a pony for Christmas. And I think, well, that ain't going to happen. But they run outside and there's a big pile of horse manure. And one kid starts bawling and he thinks, oh, get a pony. And the other one says, wait. And he runs to the shed and he gets a shovel and he said, there's got to be a pony here somewhere in this much shit. I'm going to find it. And he starts digging. Like, this is just the same experience, two kids. And one goes, there's got to be a pony here. Look how much there's a horse here somewhere. And he digs.
There's somewhere.
It's got to be here somewhere. So sometimes when you're in a pile of shit, just get your shovel and look for what the message is, because somewhere in that mess, there's a message. And that's what's really wonderful about what I do for a living. I take a woman who's already got a good business. She's got octopus arms and she's in the middle. And I think, you created this wonderful mess.
Right.
But what's the message? Now it's time to step back. And so what's the point of having a business if you're tied to it every day?
Right.
You know, money doesn't make you happy.
No.
What makes you happy is watching other people rise. So don't be the star. Step back and let other people be the star. And that takes time.
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. I'm learning that lesson right now because I'm 2 years in and I'm like, oh my gosh, man. What am I doing with my life? It's in shambles right now, but it's a hot mess. And I love what I'm doing. I love my business and I love my kids and I love my life and I'm going to get it together. It's just, it's the path we have to walk, the ups and downs, right? The things we struggle with to get there, So, man, this podcast went fast, didn't it? Jesus, man, the time flew, man.
To the point you just said, from what I have experienced, again, my own personal experience, someone who gets something, whatever it is, someone who gets something without either working for it, paying for it, something, and it's just handed to them, they don't appreciate it. They don't understand it.
Yeah.
But somebody who goes through some ups and downs, who works the extra hours, who has to save longer for something, they're going to appreciate it and understand it more. And to me, that's and not that I want somebody to suffer for it and then work, but you appreciate it. You're going to take care of it. You're going to help others because you understand it.
Yep.
So,
and real quick before we wrap up here, Lisa, how does our audience contact you?
Well, it's pretty easy, really. Maybe you put it in the show notes, but if you just, Instagram or you can find me. So if you were to type in, I've written 3 books, and so Lisa Conway, if you typed in Lisa Conway Salon Coach, you'd find me. Or on Instagram, it's L.Conway_, L.Conway_, but you'll find it. We'll pop it in the notes for them.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah. Steve, 516-727-2294.
All right. And Chuck is where'd you go there? There you go. 410-935-6132.
You would think 102 episodes, you'd have my number down by now because I got yours.
Come on. You're making sense here. Stop doing that. Okay.
I know, right? Lisa, thanks again for coming on the podcast. We appreciate your knowledge. It's been wonderful. I love this topic. I love your input. It's been great. Steve, as always, welcome back to the Friday at 4. I love what we do. Let's keep it going. And Friday at 4 because
it's 4 o'clock somewhere.
Yes, it is. It's actually 4 a.m. here in Indonesia.
Wow, look at that. Isn't that awesome? Well, it finally worked out for us one, Steve. Look at that. It's 4 o'clock there.
Yep. Well, Lisa, thank you for being here and thank you for being up at 4 a.m. So,
exactly.
My pleasure, boys. It's been
really appreciate it, Lisa. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's been wonderful. We'd love to have you back. You got the link now, so anytime you want to come on at 4 a.m., wherever you're at, to come on our podcast, you're more than welcome to join us. Okay.
It's just lovely to have a chat that was just easy, and I could have, by the end of this, you could have both had a haircut. Well, maybe not Steve. So much,
maybe not me, but I may come visit you because if you can figure out how for me to grow hair, that would be really good.
No, well, you know what I used to say to men that didn't have any hair. I said, I'm tipping you've got better things to do with your hormones than grow hair on your head, and they'd smile.
I love it. Right. Steve, we can transplant mine, man, because mine's falling out. Let's give it to you.
Thanks, boys.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Steve. It's been another great podcast episode. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon, everybody.
You got it. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
See ya.
You've been watching the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent. Thanks for watching.